Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
how's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the absolute Batman 3 Jokers from DC Comics. So, let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is the latest Absolute Edition from DC Comics. This came out actually a couple weeks ago before I left to go to Japan. But I'm back now, and I wanted to do an overview because so many have asked me where my overview was. So what we have here is the, I guess, second format that this book has been available in. Okay, not counting single issues. It came out as a 3-issue miniseries. And then we got a standard size hardcover, which I've done an overview of. And if you want to see a spoiler review of this particular story, the Astonishing Melanie and I did one a couple of years ago when it came out. So I'll leave the link above. But yeah, interesting enough that we were supposed to get a deluxe edition, but for some reason they decided to go ahead and get an absolute edition, which is the way that I've wanted to have it anyway. So sorry for the deluxe, guys. I'm sure that's still going to come out sometime. Alright, so we do have a new cover and a new back cover by Jason Fabok, who is the main artist on the book. We have the key players here of Batman and Batgirl in the Red Hood. The title down there, Batman 3 Jokers. And this is what the spine looks like, which we'll take a closer look in a little bit. The design of the back with 1, 2, 3 Jokers, hence the title. And then, of course, the spine of the slipcase here. The bottom is the ISBN, and the retail price being $100. Now, the standard size hardcover was part of the DC Black Label line, and this one is too, on the slipcase and on the actual spine here of the main book. No dust jacket, just art on board, which we'll look at here in a little bit. This comes with a little leaflet. Again, the ISBN retail price being $100, and it does come sealed in plastic. Now, this is 17 plus, so it does have a 17 plus rating, and that's mainly due to the language and a little bit of the violence. So the design of the front here is very similar to the design of the standard size hardcover. We looked at the spine, and then the key players. Love the fact that Joker's getting the big spotlight. You can probably tell where the extras begin here, where the back matter begins, because we're only talking about 3 issues. And when I say standard size hardcover, that is the size of a trade paperback. To kind of give you an idea of the differences in the sizes of the Absolute Edition and the trade paperback size here. And just in case you only collect Omnis and have never gotten an Absolute Edition, this is the difference in the sizes here. So, usually an omnibus is thicker than the Absolute Editions. But let's shift the focus back to this book right here. So I'm not going to go into spoiler territory. I'm going to mainly focus on the artwork in the first book, and I'll talk about the build and all the extras in the back. And if you want to go back and watch my video of the standard size hardcover version, which we are getting a trade paperback version finally in October of this year, so that is coming. That will be the exact same thing as the standard size hardcover. I put the link above if you want to go back and watch that. All right, so let's crack this open and talk a little bit about the 3 Jokers and show off this beautiful artwork. All right, let's go ahead and crack it open. You have these end sheets right here, which I believe was the actual cover underneath the dust jacket. You have the 2 of the Jokers there. And here you have all 3 of the Jokers with the 3 key players, the 3 protagonists, if you will. Jeff Johns, Jason Fabok, and Brad Anderson supplying the colors, Rob Lee doing the lettering. And we kick it off with the first issue. There is no introduction. Just jumps right into this 9-panel grid, which is very similar to The Killing Joke. And when I did my overview of the standard size hardcover, I did mention the things to kind of get you ready for this particular book. If you want to know a little bit more about some of the things that are going on here, are Batman, The Killing Joke, and Batman a death in the family. Not a death of the family, but a death in the family. And maybe if you really want to, the Jeff Johns Justice League run, mainly the Dark Side War issue, I think it was issue 40, was it 46 when Batman is sitting in Metron's chair. So this all really starts then. This starts with Batman and during the New 52 sitting on Metron's chair and asking the chair some questions about how much of the truth it really knows. And the first question it asks is who killed his parents? And of course the answer is Joe Chill. And then he asks, what is the Joker's name? And to his surprise, and the reader's surprise at the time, the chair replies back with the fact that there's 3 Jokers. So that was kind of left alone for a while when we got to the rebirth era of DC. There was no follow-up. There was no talk of a follow-up until a couple of years later. So there was about 4 years between that issue of Justice League and the first issue of the 3 Jokers. So the premise behind this, so this is only 3 issues. That's all that's collected in here. And we kick it off with Bruce Wayne coming in with some more wounds, and you have Alfred healing his wounds like he always does, and just taking care of his master. And, all these flashbacks of how he got each and every one of these wounds. And then we have a flashback of his parents in Crime Alley getting killed by Joe Chill. And then we have different reports coming in. Like he starts watching the news. Barbara Gordon is running on the treadmill and she's watching the news. And there's flashbacks of her with the Killing Joke. And the Red Hood is out there. He's having flashbacks of the Joker and his fight. And the news reports are coming in that pretty much the Joker has been sighted in 3 different locations. But it's impossible because that would mean there would have to be 3 of them in order for these locations to be true, that these sightings to be true. So now it's up to this particular team of Batman, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, and Jason Todd, Red Hood, to go and investigate and see exactly what's going on. Because everybody is confused. There's deaths like this character right here that's dressed like the Joker and dressed like the Red Hood. And as you find out a little more as you read the first issue, and all this is the first issue, like I said, I'm not going to go into spoilers about how all this is happening, like if there's clones, if it's multiple Earths, you can find that out for yourself. Or, like I said, check out my spoiler review that we did a couple of years ago. But as you find out, there are 3 Jokers through this particular story. So let's actually get there. Okay, so you have this older looking Joker. You have these 2 Jokers that are going to this cabin in the woods. So this particular Joker, he's kind of like the Golden Age Joker. He's known as the criminal. He's the more philosophical side of the Joker. He's the one that plans out the most. So he's the most serious one. Then you have the Clown. And the Clown feels like he's more of the Silver Age. He does a lot of gaggy things. Gaggy actually appears through here. Like the Joker Shark through here. A lot of Silver Age kind of things, but also a freaking psychopath. He's the one responsible for Batman: A Death in the Family. And then you have I guess, I don't know if it's Bronze Age or Modern Age Joker, and that is the Clown. So you have the criminal, you have the Clown, I'm sorry, and he's the comedian, the Clown and comedian, pretty similar. So the Clown is from the Silver Age, the criminal's from the Golden Age, and I don't know, modern Bronze Age, maybe it's left up to interpretation. This is the comedian. He's the Joker responsible for the events in Batman: The Killing Joke. And what the 3 of them are trying to do is get a new arch nemesis for Batman. They're trying to create another Joker. And it's a little confusing at first, but the more you read it, the more you learn to appreciate all the things that Jeff Johns did for this particular book, how much of a setup there was for this particular story. And, in order to create this arch nemesis, they have to know some things about Batman. And there's a lot of questions that are being asked around here. They go back, and it's questions you're going to be asking yourself, but I would read the entire thing. And honestly, it might take more than one reading to get the gist of what exactly is happening, if you can even get the gist, because I still have so many questions. I just reread this. It is a pretty quick read. I hadn't read it in a couple of years. And without going into spoilers here, let me show you a couple more pieces of art, because it is freaking phenomenal. Without going into spoilers, it's one of my, how do I word this? It's not one of my favorite Jeff Johns books. I love Jeff Johns. Everything he does at DC Comics has been gold, even at Marvel with his run on Avengers. But here, there's a couple of retcons for a particular story that I did not like. And I don't know if this is in continuity. I think this is going to be like the case of The Killing Joke, where The Killing Joke was not supposed to be in continuity, and then DC said, this is too good or too important of a story. We have to have it in continuity. I don't know if that will be the case with the three Jokers, that eventually they will have this in continuity. But as it is right now, it's just a follow-up to those two stories I mentioned. And that's it, because you don't really get mentions of these particular characters in, for example, the Death Metal or the Joker War, anything like that. So it could be a standalone story, and maybe that's why they decided to make it a Black Label book. And I think that's pretty much all I will say about the actual story, because there's a lot to talk about, and it's really difficult to do this overview justice without going a little more into detail. That ending of the first issue, holy crap, I was surprised where that went. And the ending to the series still sparks up a lot of questions. You know, it did still. For the people that don't think that it's a Batman thing to do, I completely see it as a Batman thing. That is the Bruce Wayne Batman thing to do. As far as the retcon, yeah, still not sure how I feel about that. But read it for yourself and judge for yourself. I always suggest that to people because, you know, things that I don't like, people end up loving, and vice versa. Things that I love, sometimes people don't like. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and mine is no better than anyone else's. But that's the gist of the story. You have three Jokers, they're committing crimes, and they have this big master plan to create a new arch nemesis for Batman. Is it a new Joker, or is it something else? Well, you can find out by reading these three issues. It's a quick read. Now, let's look at the back matter, because I feel like the back matter is completely worth it if you enjoy the story, or if you're just a fan of oversized artwork. So, you do have a ribbon, and it is this neon green. Of course, it has to be this neon green ribbon. And here's the covers right here, and the actual art progress with the covers, including some of the changes that editorial told Jason Fabok to make. And then eventually all this unused artwork. A lot of this stuff, most of the stuff that's in here is not collected in the standard size trade paperback or the hardcover. This has 248 pages. That hardcover had, I think, 168. Here's the designs to what I think was at one time going to be the deluxe edition, and then they decided to opt out and do a absolute edition, which is surprising because they usually go trade paperback, standard size hardcover, or standard size hardcover, then trade paperback, then a deluxe edition, and then an absolute. So it surprises me that they jumped to a absolute edition. I'm glad, and one of the reasons I'm glad is because, let me see if I can show you. I think I mentioned this in my overview. I never go back and watch my overviews, but in case I didn't, I was talking about how hard sometimes it was to read the small font, like the lettering when it came to the, like the news reports that are coming through the television. That was a little hard to read, and this does help out a ton. So it is oversized artwork, and it is gorgeous. Here's the covers right here, and variant covers. And starting the project with Jeff Johns, and the different designs for the different Jokers, the original ideas that didn't really fall through, and then the script to page. I love when they do this. So if you want to break it into comics, definitely check out this kind of stuff right here. Here you see how a professional comic book writer writes a script, and how that script is turned into art right there. So you have the inks and then the color. So whether you want to write or whether you want to draw. If you want to write, use this as a template. If you want to draw, take this and draw your own version. I love doing that when I was a kid, and there wasn't enough of this stuff released when I was younger. But if you're trying to make it into comics, I strongly suggest checking out this kind of stuff. And let's see what else is there. This is probably my favorite thing. I know it's crazy. I usually like the script to page, but I really love this because I caught some of this and I didn't catch it all. This is all the Easter eggs that inspired the story. In these three issues, There's so many Easter eggs in the backgrounds, like the Batmobile coming from The Killing Joke, the designs by Brian Bolin, the Wayne's Graves by Carlos Pacheco during the Superman Batman issue number 18 ish, that particular story with Jeff Loeb, and again, Carlos Pacheco. So there's all kinds of Easter eggs, and a lot of these I missed. And some of them I got, you always feel pretty smart when you're like, oh, that comes from the cult. I know exactly where that's from. And then when you miss something that is right in front of your face, you're like, well, how did I miss that? I can't believe I missed that. But I'm glad that this is included. It's my favorite thing that was added through these particular pages here in this edition. So, as I mentioned, 248 pages. Let's take a look at that eye, because it is sewn binding. And there's really not a lot of spread. I think there's only like maybe 2 spread pages throughout this whole thing. Most of them are just panels like this. But being oversized, oh my gosh. And yes, Jason Fabok's artwork, holy crap, it is so good. He's channeling not just Brian Bolin, which is easy to channel. Well, not easy, I'm sorry. What I mean is easy to gather whenever you're talking about The Killing Joke, like a follow-up to The Killing Joke. But there's also a lot of like David Finch and Jim Lee in here, and he's just on another level. I remember what was it that he was drawing? He was drawing the Justice League issues, and I think he did some Dark Knight issues. But this stuff, he's just on another level. And to own it in an oversized format, it is completely gorgeous, especially if you like the story. But yeah, leave those comments down below. If you've read it, let me know what you think of the particular story and what you think of the artwork. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this Absolute Edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code Near Mint Condition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this Absolute Edition. Let me know in the comments down below if you have been waiting for this particular Absolute Edition, you've been waiting to read Batman 3 Jokers, if you're upgrading from your single issues or your standard size hardcover, or if you're going to wait around for maybe a deluxe edition. I would love to know all those comments down below. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. Smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.